You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very special guest. My man. It's like, no, but for real. We got my husband today on the channel for the next episode of Having the Conversation. This isn't a couples video or like nothing y'all been requesting. We'll get to that after. But this is an interview for him. Let him tell y'all a little bit about himself and some of the trials and tribulations he's overcome and things of that sort. So let's get right into it. First, we are going to cheers because we had this Double X blackberry wine. Did you do the little? Oh. And then now we're going to get into it. So, Mr. Ellis, tell the people about you. Who are you?
My name is D'Angelo. Formerly, Loso is what everybody else knows me as. But who am I? I'm a husband. I'm a dad. I'm a brother. I'm a son. I'm an agent. A man of many hats. Dog dad. Whatever you want me to be at that moment, I guess I'm that.
Okay, so with all that, when did you become a dad?
Officially, 2014, the age of 19.
You supposed to officially.
Right.
Unofficially.
Unofficially, August 17th, 1999.
Boy! Okay, so I know we kind of talked about a lot of different topics that I wanted to get you on my channel for. But today I want to kind of focus on the overcoming being a young dad. Like going to college, getting your degree, and just kind of like where you are now, how you feel like, what you've been through is influencing or has an effect on your life now. That whole spiel. So first, in being a young dad, what would you say your biggest fear was?
Providing that, and I guess just like the negative connotation that's attached to it. So the differences between having a kid when you're established and having a kid when you're a kid is the fact of I felt like at first, damn, I just fucked my life up. My life's over with. Now I have to fully, I guess, dedicate myself to her. So that was my biggest fear. It's just like I was on my sophomore year of college, still figuring out my own life. I was 18 hours away and just didn't know how that shit was supposed to play out and how, I guess, adding that to my plans and mix, it kind of like everything had to be rerouted and refigured out, I guess, just because it was a new addition to the plan.
Now, in saying that, do you feel like society's point of view or like the way maybe like you were raised had anything to do with, I guess, you kind of feeling like, damn, my life is fucked up now? Or was it just a personal thing more so?
I think it's a bit of both. Society will tell you, based off of like the movies and shit like that, you gotta wait till you get married and you have your perfect family and then the babies will come. But unfortunately that's just not how life works. So I'll say my own personal, just because my initial plan wasn't to have a kid until 25 and it happened 6 years earlier. So that's a big ass monkey wrench to put into plans. And then again, for me being 18 hours away and shit from home, like my whole support system wasn't there, so that made it even harder, I guess, on myself.
Okay. Now, do you feel like it was something that put a hold on your life or stopped your plans, or do you feel like you've done a pretty good job of carrying what comes with it and keeping the plans rolling?
I say yes and no. Because for the most part, again, the plans got reverted, but we rolled with the punches that came with it. But I could say when it came to leaving school, it definitely determined my next destination. So I could say if she wasn't here, who's to say where I would have ended up and what the future would have held then, as opposed to when she came, I knew for a fact I was coming back home after school.
Okay. Do you feel like your life would be different if you went to another school? Like if you didn't come home and go to West Virginia, like maybe if you came home and went to Howard?
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know, I can't say that it'd be for the better. Because I feel as though if I would have came like all the way back home, I probably wouldn't have finished school. And that's just because my focus wouldn't have been on school.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Damn. That's crazy. I never thought of that. But yeah, that's definitely like...
So you feel like the 3 hours, the 3 hour distance made a big deal or made a detrimental, I guess, decision as far as if you were only 30 minutes away?
Yeah. Because for one, my uncle was a big voice telling me not to even come back that close. He felt as though if I came back home any way, shape, or fashion, I wasn't going to finish. But I felt as though with West Virginia, it gave me the opportunity to be closer to home but away from home. So at the drop of a dime, if a call was made and I needed to be home, I can get there. But it also gave me enough space to where I still felt like a getaway. So like any of the stress and problems that came with home, I felt as though being in West Virginia, I was still able to get away from that shit and focus on school. As well as, again, I think just the area and location that I was in, like it being a whole different way of life, it kind of like ain't nothing else in West Virginia, so you gotta focus on school. So I do think, again, as opposed to that 3 hour distance and drive, if I was like 30, 40 minutes away, not only am I able to get closer to home, but everybody else is able to get closer to me and I'm more accessible. So who's to say what problems that could have brought to the campus as well, being as though I know the crowd that I keep from time to time, as well as everybody mentally at that age for sure wasn't on the same time that I was. I was the only one with a kid, only one that was in school away from home. So like everybody else was still in like party mode. I was still in like, I gotta finish. Like I was more so focused on finishing because honestly, yeah, college was cool, but to me, my toughest years was senior and junior year.
Now, do you feel like... Damn, I forgot the question I was about to ask before. Okay, I'll come back to it if I remember. But how do you feel like it affected your mental health being first 18 hours away and then being 3 hours away with being a new dad, still a college student, still working?
Mentally, I felt as though, well, during it, I felt like school was preventing me from providing. And also it was preventing me from being a dad. Because, I mean, ultimately, yes, every other weekend I took that drive home and back to school to come get Sage, but ultimately I knew I could give her more than just every other weekend. And I know I could ultimately wanted to give her more than that. So it was a constant mental battle and emotional battle with myself, just feeling like I was picking school over my kid.
Okay. Now, do you feel like... I just feel like my question again. What did you just say?
What?
I'm gonna cut this part out. No, I'm gonna cut this part out.
Oh my god.
No, it was the last, because it was something along... So what made you keep going?
My mama. I didn't really have no choice. She told me I ain't coming back home until I finish. But
there you have it.
Yeah, on top of that, focusing on the bigger picture, like I didn't just give y'all 4 years of my life. Well, at that time, when it was time to finish, 5 years of my life to just quit. Like, no, I needed something out of this. Like,
but I'm saying, like, what made you keep going? Like, when you first found out about Sage, and then like when shit would get hard, and then like what made you transfer instead of just being like, fuck it, I'll take a break and then go back when I can?
Well, seeing my brother not finish was a big motivator for one. And he stayed home, had the same situation, but he had his kid a year later than me, but he never actually went back. And then the part of, if I drop out and go be a dad, how the fuck am I gonna provide? What am I gonna work? What am I gonna do? Am I gonna go to a fast food restaurant, bus tables? Am I gonna go back to Advanced Auto Parts, making what, $14 an hour? Ultimately, that ain't gonna help me like provide. So I had to focus on. And I mean, my mom helped me again. Like, she was big on having these talks with me, and basically told me like, you gotta remember, the point of you in school is to create a better life for yourself, which ultimately creates a better life for your kid. And the little money that I would have been making, I guess if I dropped out, she was saying, shit, it's gonna be here whether you finish school or not. So why not give myself a better chance coming up? And I mean, thankfully, God willing, it was done, and I was able to realize, yeah, the pay scale is definitely a big difference without the degree, but in the heat of the moment, it was more so a matter of, I couldn't let one mistake, which now I don't look at as a mistake because that's my first kid, it's a blessing, but the circumstances was a mistake. I couldn't let that define my future or hinder my future, because then I would live a life of regret.
Do you feel like you have that same drive, like that same passion, like that same resilience?
I'm gonna say yes and no, just because back then I didn't have the same number of dependents. Let's put it that way. So like, it wasn't, whatever decisions I made didn't really fall back on other people. So like, yeah, I had a kid, but ultimately whatever decision I made, like at that point in time, it fell on me. So now, being as though out of school, married, 2 kids, 2 dogs, I can say yeah, but then that would be a lot, because I feel like back then I took a lot more risks that wasn't like thoughtful. So now it's like calculated risk, as opposed to just back then I was throwing myself in the fire, not thinking about what the consequences would be. Now it's more so I have to make risk and steps and make sure my family's straight at the same time. So like, I can sit here and lie and say, oh man, I'm all in, I stop whatever I'm doing right now to chase my dreams, but that'll be false, because I still wake up every day, go work a full-time job to make sure the bills are paid and I can provide for y'all. And ultimately, yeah, one enemy be feeling like, oh well, I'm now making myself suffer to make $1, and I'm kind of like slaving myself. But the other half of me is still like, well, if you just say fuck it and take a leap of faith, but then that leap of faith leaves your kids and your wife starving and hungry, and technically that's me thinking of myself. And I can't do that no more. I ain't in that space no more.
So how do you find balance?
Using the free time that I do get to still continue to build towards what I want to do. So again, like when I'm off of work from the full time, still dedicating time towards the agency and my clients and tapping in and touching base with them.
What is it that you do in your agency?
So it's an entertainment agency as a whole, but me being a sports agent on the side of that. I have a client in Canada playing in the CFL. I have a client at Toledo. I have a client at McNeese University. And those are 2 football players and a track star at Kentucky. So just a matter of when I do have the free time to dedicate to them, making sure I'm checking up on them mentally, as well as whatever footage and stuff I have to maximize the exposure. When it comes to Fleet, which is the CFL athlete, constantly checking up on him just because he's in a whole nother country, but as well as doing my due diligence on the back end, taking care of them and making sure they're straight. So to me, that consists of constantly checking up on his team, his managers, making sure they're treating him accordingly and doing what they're supposed to do, constantly reiterating to him his contract terms anytime he feeling defeated or feeling some type of way, as well as keeping the college athletes motivated and on, and letting them know, even though shit might get tough in college, you still ultimately have the next level that you're still trying to reach it. So not to let those colleges basically drain you for everything that you own and have at this level and right now, and focusing on future as well as not just the now.
Do you see a comparison in between? Like, do you see a comparison with like motivating or like having the conversations with your athletes to like make them keep going and like be resilient to the process and push through? Like speaking from experience or like because of what you've been through in your life, like do you find any similarities in having to push through college and be a dad, but also having to like make some changes that you weren't, that you didn't plan for, but having to like stay true to the process and keep going?
Until being asked just now, no. But now I do. Like, because I mean, again, ultimately, you don't really think about the past until it's brought to the front. So, with the way,
I feel like
right, the way we just broke down these questions, and now the way you just asked that, then yeah, it's basically like exactly the same. I wouldn't call my clients my kids, but at the same time, I do feel like I am a walking testimony. Like my mama always told me through school I was gonna be, and I didn't realize until just now that my testimony is to my clients. Just because most of the hardships and I guess short ends of the stick that they're dealing with or they deal with, I've dealt with. Mm-hmm. So my CFL client's case, when the NFL didn't fall through and he was ready to call it quits, I had to be that big brother and, keep him pushing and focused and realizing that you put in too much work to just let stuff go and let this dream die. And I mean, it even took him some trials and tribulations with other agents to finally give me the full shot that I deserved, but he could see that I was worth it at the end of the day. And now he's in Canada. When it comes to either my other clients, the ones in college, like dealing with the new environments of new coaches and feeling like you're getting alienated and feeling like they, I guess, nitpicking with specifically you, and telling them like, and ultimately, you're never going to be put in a perfect situation. So for me, I would never tell somebody to dumb down their morals or not be their self, but in certain instances, you do at least have to play the game. So when I say that, meaning you stand on your own 10 and be who you are and let everybody know you're not changing ultimately who you are as a person, but you are willing to bend and adjust to get to where you want to be.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're going to shift from career and I guess college talk, and I have like a few more questions. What is it like being a girl dad?
Amazing.
Amazing?
Amazing.
Oh, that's very surprising because, well, speaking as your wife, when we found out we were having a girl, you were very distraught. So, what are some what am I trying to say?
What's the reason I feel it's amazing?
No, like, with some advice.
Okay.
Or, what? No, that's not what I'm asking. What do you enjoy about being a girl dad?
For one, the love. Like, my girls are similar to, like, I hate to compare the two, but the dogs. Like, when I come in the house, they naturally, like, have that excitement, just like the puppies or the dogs, anytime you see the dogs. And I feel like with boys, you ain't really getting that. Like, boys is more so rough and tough, and ain't no too much compassion at that young stage and age. But I feel like also with the girls slowed me down. They gave me a new perspective on life as well as women and as a whole, and being more empathetic to the stuff that y'all endure and y'all experience. And I feel like, again, it prepared me to become a man. I feel like if I would have had a son, on the first go around, I definitely wouldn't have slowed down. But even with the second go around, like, I feel like God knew, like, I still had some more growing up to do, even though Sage was already 7. I guess he felt as though I still had some more maturing and some more experiencing to do. So I feel like, yeah, he gave me another girl to not only continue to mold me, but also keep me on my toes and whip me in shape, because I feel like maybe he felt like I got comfortable, because the other one was 7 already.
Okay. What advice would you give to a young dad who just, I'm not gonna put no. What advice would you give to a young dad?
A young dad. When you say young, what you mean?
Like somebody in your shoes,
19?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
With big dreams.
That life not over. I mean, you gotta roll with the punches of the decisions that you make, but ultimately it's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Life will always get better. And I know it's cliche that somebody always doing worse than you, but it's really a fact. Like, and I ain't gonna lie.
But okay, but with that, like, hold on, I'm sorry, I ain't gonna cut you off, but like,
completely cut me off.
Because when you say like somebody else going through something worse, I just feel like that don't invalidate, like that don't.
It doesn't invalidate your pain for a fact, because I was one person that hated hearing that.
Yeah,
but the
like.
reason I say that is.
Are your house burned? No, let me not go there. Go ahead.
The reason I say that is, some people don't ever see the good side of things because they don't get a chance to see it through. So, for example, if say you had a kid at a young age and you got a baby mama that don't work well with you, and instead of taking that custody fight and seeing it all through the end, you call it quits. And now, yeah, for that little bit of time, you ain't got no baby mama drama. But now you got a seed that's not gonna grow up thinking they wasn't worthy of their dad's time and love. So I feel as though that's why I say somebody always has the worst off, because then ultimately they live a life of regret, because always in the back of their head they might have tried to push it off and bury it. You can never forget about having a kid out there, first and foremost. But then also again, it's when I say somebody.
So you think deadbeats think about their kids every day?
Yeah, they might not bring it up, they might not have a conversation every day, but ultimately in the back of their mind, eventually it crossed their mind like, where's my kid? Or what does my kid think? Or, you know what I'm saying, ultimately like, what does my kid become without me in their life? And if for one, it's just a bunch of regrets you live with. But then ultimately, again, for me, like, the reason I said it the way I just said it, because again, I wouldn't say this to nobody in the heat of the moment, but I said, but the reason I say somebody's always worse off, I had my kid at 19. One of my men had a kid at 15. So it's like, I can only imagine what type of even more stress and anxiety he had to deal with having a kid 4 years earlier, sophomore in high school.
So I think a better phrase to maybe say is somebody been through this.
Right.
Like somebody been through this, so you know you could get through it maybe.
Yeah,
versus somebody's better. I mean, somebody going through something worse. It's like, damn, alright, like,
yeah.
I don't know how that feels. Like, I don't know what they pain feel like. Like,
that's a fact.
The hell?
But when I sit there and I just really think about it, like, at the time when I'm thinking like life over, we already fucked up. My man already been through this 4 years. This kid 4 years old already. So it's like, damn, when you put really shit in perspective, it could always be worse. Ultimately. So you just gotta make the most of the car that you got.
What is two things of advice that you're going to teach your kids or instill in your kids?
Patience is key. And whatever for you is for you. No matter how long it takes, you're not running nobody else's race. You're not competing with nobody else. Regardless of the socials and what look good on TV and who got this and who got what, ultimately, peace is in the eye of the beholder. So, for some people that may be money, for some people that may be just a peace of mind and freedom to move how they want to move. Some people that may be just being at one with themselves and their emotions and feelings and not letting nobody else control their emotions. So one thing I would instill in them is to find their peace. Whatever they feel works best for them, whatever makes them happy, that to me is the ultimate goal in life.
How do you plan to teach them those things? In a world full of like people who are superficial and just enjoy or like lust over materialistic things and illusions and visions of people, how do you plan to instill those values into your girls?
Well, I'm still learning myself, so I guess we're going to learn together. That's my process.
So, leading by example?
Hopefully.
Basically.
Hopefully.
Okay. All right. Okay.
wine.
But we always drink wine. Y'all. He's faking because we always drink wine, especially double XL. Like this wine is too. You like this wine? You don't like this wine?
They sponsoring us?
No.
Because we keep snapping them like, no name wine until they give us a deal. Straight up.
I don't gatekeep on my channel, so I was just trying to let the people know.
I could have DM'd
Will
her
we?
for that. No free promo. So
On
double
YouTube,
XL,
comments.
if you watching, my wife need a sponsorship deal.
Double XL.
Yeah, man. She
We
got
would
some
love
wine.
that. We drink it almost every night. Period.
So yeah.
Love all the flavors, but blackberry's my favorite. So.
Alright, don't give them too much. They ain't signed yet.
No, I need to let them know. So if they send me a
We don't
package,
want
they
no
know.
free packets. We want a sponsorship deal. Do it.
I mean, we could start all that. They could sponsor our episodes with the bottles of wine.
And a check. We can provide the wine. Yeah.
Y'all see the dynamics. Y'all see the dynamics. But I had a good time interviewing you today. Alright, y'all. So I forgot to do this, but at the end of my interviews, if the wine's not gone, then we have to down it. So let's get into it. Let's chug it. 1, 2, 3, cheers. It's a wrap.
Ain't no fresh prince, but all these guns shoot at will. Trying to fill up more banks than that man.